You released Cabin Fever as the first new single in 6 years. Why now?
In my mind, I never really went away from music. Well, people always ask me what I've been doing. I'm like, what do you think I've been like learning to fish. You know, like Cabin Fever speaks to all the reasons why I've been away.
Obviously, a lot of people know you from Bulletproof, which was such a huge banger. Is there this element of, I want it to be behind me?
It doesn't represent who I am. I've never felt bulletproof my whole life.
Another track that you've released is Babyline.
It almost felt like too joyous, like I can't put this out.
Doechii recently shared the track as well.
Yeah.
I could really see you two doing something together.
It would be so f***ing cool.
Your fourth studio album, Old Flames. What can you tell us about this album?
I realised what the mission statement always was for Roux, to bring something back that you miss. I'm missing that sound. Mariah Carey, Jay-Z, Heartbreaker. I'm missing that Justified album. Timbaland, Nelly Furtado. I miss that pop, and I can't be the only one.
Welcome to another episode of the Spout Podcast. I'm your host, Tamara Dia, and today I'm joined by Ellie Jackson, aka Roux. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm actually really excited for this chat because I've been listening to music for so long, and I am very excited to be one of the people to tell you welcome back.
Thank you.
You've released Cabin Fever as the first new single in 6 years.
Yeah.
Why now? What was the impetus for this? What inspired you to kind of A, write Cabin Fever, and B, come back to music after 6 years?
I mean, I think the worrying thing is that in my mind, I never really went away from music. I just take ages to do things. That's not the full story, but it's a lot of it, you know. I think I released a record in 2020 about 2 weeks before the pandemic happened, and I could never tour it. And I think I've just always, that's a huge reason why then I couldn't quite put myself back in the headspace of making a record again instantly after I just finished making one, because it had been a number of weeks since I'd kind of completed, you know, the music videos for that. And then I got shut away again, and I kind of wasn't quite ready to start making a record. And I think people also forget to take into account, like between my first and second records, you know, we toured that record for like 2 and a bit years. I wasn't making a record at the same time. So then you have to add the record making on top of the touring. That's like 5 years. So to me, it's kind of normal. But I think this time it did feel like, it felt like longer had passed, even though it's roughly the same amount of time. And it got to the point where it wasn't just making another record anymore. It was like, people are going to perceive this as a comeback, you know, because most people don't know what I've been doing since Bulletproof. So I think, you know, but I've just been making music the whole time. You know, I always make music. And I certainly wasn't trying to do a different job. I think just mental health and music has just taken its time and taken its toll in certain ways. Yeah absolutely. I mean, I feel like also maybe just back 6 years ago even, releasing music was normal for artists to take that time, and just the scope like the scope of the music industry has changed so much that if you're not releasing music constantly, like you said, people think like you're taking a extended break. Well, people always ask me what I've been doing. I'm like, what do you think I've been like learning to fish, you know, like I wasn't like learning to do something else. Like I think it's just that you can't have good ideas all the time, and sometimes it takes time to separate the good ideas from the bad ideas. Or it takes time to look back on what you did last year and go, well, that's all crap, and that's not, and that could be on an album and that can't, you know. And I don't know where I was going with that, but it's a lot of, you have to experiment to get to where you are. You don't just go, I'm going to make an album, and then you're like, oh look, I have 12 songs. You know, it just doesn't work like that. You know, usually you're like, okay, I should make another record, and then you have a couple of ideas and you're like, that is so good, and then 3 weeks later you're like, no, it isn't. You know, and then it's just that constantly all the time. And I think unless I love it to bits, and every time I listen to it, I never think anything apart from that's great or it's perfect or whatever, then I'm not putting it out. And I just think it takes me longer to get there. I also don't really collaborate, you know, so I'm not really sharing the load as well, which I think does definitely make things take longer. I am also just a massive perfectionist, so, you know, I'll do like 8 mixes of something.
A gift and a curse.
Yeah,
truly.
For sure.
So why Cabin Fever as the first single off this new album?
I think just because, obviously I did have mental health things, and also, but to most people, I have just been away for a very long time, like way longer than I think I've been away. And cabin fever speaks to all the reasons why I've been away. And I kind of just wanted to get it out of the way in the campaign in a way. It was kind of like a false start intentionally, because it's got a much more negative narrative than the rest of the record. And in a way, I kind of didn't want to start with it, but actually it needed to be started with it, because I certainly didn't want to end with it. You know, it's like the beginning of the journey where I found myself feeling like very trapped inside. After Trouble in Paradise, I had a bad experience in the studio with somebody, and just with a record that then I couldn't release. Then I had to make supervision. Then the pandemic hit, and it was just this feeling of just being trapped and locked. Like, how do I break out of this, whatever this cycle is that I can't get out of? How do I get out? And I finally got out, and in a way, you don't want to talk about all the negative things that you've been through in some ways, you know, it just feels a bit heavy and draining, but I think it was really important. And I think because most people think I've been away for like over a decade, it felt like Cabin Fever narratively made sense to be the first single. Do you know what I mean?
Been around a minute now, I'm stuck in my feelings, tired of tripping over my fat feet. Oh, you say I'm cynical, baby, that's close. Careful what you spread around, making my toast.
I think it is important to talk about things that are heavy, because a lot of people go through that stuff. A lot of people go through their own mental health struggles.
Yeah.
A lot of people have a lot of issues in their life. So that's the beautiful thing about music. You know, it's like sometimes that helps heal people.
I agree, but I think, you know what, just before I kind of disappeared, it was like, oh, my label's me over, this is happening, this, but, and you know, when you just don't want to be that person that keeps coming back and essentially moaning, you know, like there are a lot of great things to talk about as well, like the healing part of it. And so I think you're right, and it's good to acknowledge where I've been, but I think constantly talking about how much of a hard time you've had, or how you got there, or why you were there for so long, it's helpful to some degree, but also like actually the tools of how to get out of it were more exciting than, you know, how I ended up where I did. And yeah, I think I just didn't want to come back into this world and talking about my music and myself from that place again of like, oh, it's been really hard. You know, I'm not in that space anymore, I guess.
Well, I mean, another track that you've released is Babyline, and that's very upbeat.
Totally.
And very exciting, and perhaps even feels like the journey out of Cabin Fever into Babyline. Tell me about that track.
So Babyline, so the album runs a course where you end up in essentially you end up in the space that you want to be in as a person. And Babyline is the second to last track. The last track on the album is the Old Flames reprise, which kind of rounds everything off nicely. And Babyline is just was such a free thing to write, and the lyrics so represent the feeling of writing it, the feeling of making it, how happy it made me when I made it. Like, I remember when I made the beat one day, and I'm pretty sure the bass line and the keyboard part came in the same day. And I just remember listening to it without lyrics, without melody, again and again and again and again, and just being like, God, I love this. Like, I love it. And in the end, the lyrics just spilt out of the melody in a way that they kind of didn't on the rest of the album. And it almost felt like, when I first wrote it almost felt like too joyous. Like, I can't put this out. Like, this is so joyous. Like, it doesn't have any edge. Do you know what I mean? There's no but. There's just no edge to it whatsoever. It's just, you know what? I feel great. And this is how I've got here, and I'm so happy to be here. And that's kind of how the album ends up. And I just felt like I wanted to put, even though it's not narratively the way the album runs, which was tempting to release singles in their kind of narrative order, I was like, no, the energy of Babyline needs to come out like now. And it kind of feels like the full start of the campaign, which is nice.
When the light is on your face, when you finally see through the rain, when it's
honestly, we need joy. Like,
yeah, we do.
it's one of those songs where, you know, you put it on and immediately you start moving and you start vibing and you think about like the wind in your hair. And like, it's like a song that I've been putting on to get ready to, you know.
Oh my God, amazing. I love that.
Yeah, no, it's really beautiful. Like, and it's just fun. And I'm going to read you a couple of the comments on the video. Someone wrote, okay, now summer can officially begin. Because that's what this song feels like. Someone else wrote, she came back when we needed her the most.
No, some of the comments have been insane.
Yeah.
Like insane.
Is like, how does that make you feel when you hear those comments?
Well, I mean, when we first put it up and we saw the comments coming through, it feels like the first thing that I've done in a long time that's kind of broken through the noise by itself, which is super hard to do now. Yeah. Everybody knows how hard that is now. And just also when you have a kind of mission statement for something and you know exactly what it means to you, it never is the case that everybody writes down exactly how you feel about the song back to you. Like, it's just so rare. And to have everybody write how they felt about it stylistically, and it's all the references that I was pulling on at the time, to have everybody say how it makes them feel, how it feels healing to them as well, when it was my healing journey thing, you know. Just the amount of comments that are so accurate to where what I feel about that song and where my soul is with that song. It's like, oh, I've actually managed to communicate something very accurately and with a lot of clarity, and people are hearing it exactly the way that I hear it, which is often not the way with music. Often people hear things differently to you. And
Yeah,
feel
like they
different.
interpret it their own way.
Totally different way, or they're like, oh, I don't feel like it's like that stylistically at all. It reminds me more of this. And you're like, what? Like, what are you talking about? So to have that and it be so accurate is like, it's kind of everything that you want as someone who writes and produces and just and someone who also just wants to connect with other humans. Like, you know, you're like, okay, great, it's right. Yeah. There
was another comment I just want to share because it's so pretty. She says, it's like she found her heartbeat again and she's letting us listen to it.
Yeah, it is. It genuinely, this is what I mean. But this, like, when do you get comments like that? It's so rare, you know. So it's been a real joy this week, the last just sort of week generally, just seeing that. And so, you know, people, my sister, my friends being like, have you seen this? Have you read this? You know, it's been really nice. Yeah, really, really nice. And thank you to everyone that's listened to it and feels that way as well. Yeah,
and Doechii recently shared the track as well.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I could really see you two doing something together.
It would be so f***ing cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to meet her. There's so many people that I've been inside not meeting, and, you know, just living in my studio in Brixton in the UK, and I think, you know, the kind of want to just sort of get out there and meet some people, and possibly do the collaborations that I've never really kind of got into.
Is there a reason behind that?
It's funny, people ask me this and I'm like, I don't really fully know what the reason is. I think it's because a lot of the people that I really, really want to collaborate with, I have very expensive taste, let's put it that way.
Fair.
And actually, like, it's often just a bit like people are like, you wish, do you know what I mean? And I'm like, well, I don't want to collaborate with anyone else, so I'm just not going to collaborate.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you think it might work and then it doesn't, or it's not what you thought, or they don't want to make the same kind of music as you, or I don't really know. I've never really been able to connect with the people that I genuinely would like to collaborate with. You know, people make it sound like it's really easy in this industry to just like connect with people. It's not. I don't know. I don't know what people are talking about. So I don't know. I don't know why. I have no idea. But I'm definitely putting a different energy out there now about it, because I'd really like to try. Also, I never really did the writing session thing. A lot of other people did the writing session thing, and I hate that session thing. I don't like it as an environment. It doesn't suit me. As a musician, as of just everything, it doesn't suit me. You know, this whole kind of like, let's throw stuff at the wall all day and see what sticks and just finish a song even if it's crap. I'm like, oh, I can't work in this environment at all.
So what is your writing style like in terms of when you go into a session?
I mean, I just work on my own. So I just wake up, make a cup of tea, turn the computer on, either listen to what I finished last night or start something new. You know, you just got to keep starting new things. And I can always tell within like usually within about an hour of working on something, I'll either make a beat first, or I'll write music first, or I'll be inspired by something, or I'll sample something, or wherever I've decided to get inspiration from, or I played something on the guitar last night and I want to put it on the keyboard and see what it feels like, whatever. And you'll just know pretty quickly if that chord sequence is actually going to come up trumps or not, whether you're going to, it's going to grow into something, or if it's just going to be some other whack chord sequence that you wrote one day, you know. And you try and you push and you go, no, maybe there's something in this. And sometimes it's worth pushing past you thinking that it's rubbish, and sometimes it's not. And, you know, until I write, and then I'll write a hook that I'm excited by, like Babyline, where I did the dun, 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 you know, and I was like, no, that's really good. That now there's something that you know you can commit to and stick with and stay focused with. And then, you know, some days that happens and magic actually happens, and other days it doesn't, and you've just worked all day and it's frustrating. But that's just kind of the way it is. But obviously I do feel like working with other people speeds up the process in some ways. And when I have ever, it's not like I've never collaborated, when I have ever and it's been right, it is so much faster. You do tend to come to ideas quicker and finish things quicker, but I feel like the energy's got to be really right, for sure.
Well, the energy was really right for your fourth studio album, Old Flames, which is going to drop November 5th. What can you tell us about this album? I mean, I do feel like already you've kind of hinted that it is a little bit of a different direction in terms of like little hip hop vibes in there, which I think
slightly like references, it's definitely not, it's not a rap album,
right? Of course,
obviously.
Which would be cool, honestly.
I've really switched it up, guys.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. But it's like, you know, late 90s, early 2000s.
Like,
yeah, tell me about it.
Basically what I realized about halfway through making this record was that I realized what the mission statement always was for Roux was to bring something back that you miss, but in hopefully a way that feels like, oh, there's now just a new treasure trove of this left. So when I made my first record, it was like, I have rinsed every single 80s track that I love, and there are no more, and I've just got them on repeat. What about if there were 10 more, you know? What about if there were 8 more of the kind of thing that I like? And then I could service those to a new generation, and then they might go back and listen to stuff that they missed. Do you know what I mean? And that was kind of the mission statement of Roux. And I sort of forgot that that was the mission statement in a way. And once I remembered, I was like, okay, what are you missing most at the moment? And I was like, I'm missing that sound. I'm missing that, like, you know, Mariah Carey, Jay-Z, Heartbreaker. I'm missing that Justified album. I'm missing, like, Neptune's production. I'm missing when Rodney Jerkins worked with Michael Jackson. I'm missing Timbaland and Nelly Furtado, who followed me the other day, which was quite exciting as somebody who grew up in that generation. And I was just like, I missed that pop, you know? And I can't be the only one. We'll see if I am the only one.
You're definitely not.
But I just miss it, you know, that Janet Jackson stuff. I just was listening to it a lot. And I think also there were certain artists like 21 Savage, Drake to a certain degree, started like sampling some of the stuff from that time. And Burna Boy, Burna Boy and 21 Savage, I think it was them, sampled that Brandy song, on Top of the World or whatever. And I was like, yeah, that era of music.
Go ahead, it's your time, baby. It's your time, baby. Get my baby. That's the difference when you're my baby. That's how it is when you. Nobody make me stop the world.
I missed that. And then there was the sample of Toni Braxton, He Wasn't Man Enough for Me. And I'd been listening to that song constantly for like a year, to the point where I was talking to another producer about it, and I was like, man, that intro is so good. And they were like, you should sample it. And I was like, yeah, I might do at some point. And then that track came out and I was like, I really need to act quicker.
Yeah.
Like, I need to not sit on things.
I know holy, and I know that get both. Like the Baba Frayo, my ayo, don't cry yo.
That's one of my favorite tracks, like pop tracks of all time. It's so snappy. And I was just like, I miss so much about this era that I'm just going to kind of try and bring it into what I do. It's also so kind of un-LaRue. I like doing something different every record, which is probably why my fan base is sort of all over the shop and doesn't really know who it is, because each one of my records pulls on a different era, and then it kind of goes right down that rabbit hole. So if you were already obsessed with the previous rabbit hole I went down, and I'm now kind of asking you to do a left turn. But that's just kind of what I do. I kind of get obsessed with something, and then I'm like, never want to listen to that ever again. Next. So that's just the way that I make music, I've realized, for better or for worse.
I do feel like when listening at least to these 2 new tracks, it is that feeling of it being nostalgic but still new.
Yeah, that was what was hard to capture. It was hard to make it, because I think my other records, like Trouble in Paradise, I'm super, super proud of that record. I think it's some of my best writing and composing and stuff, but it definitely, the parts of it that were referencing the past tended, we treated it in a really old school way in some ways when we were making it, me and this engineer, and which was great. It was really cool, and I learnt loads, but it kind of made it stay in the past in a way. It made it stay where its kind of production references were. And the challenge on this record was to actually make it feel as modern as even like a Weeknd or Justin Bieber album or something sonically, but for it to feel like groove-wise and soul-wise it was doing, and feeling-wise that it was doing what those records used to do and still do to me. And that was really hard. I had a kind of pinnacle that I wanted to reach, which was that Tamia and Fabulous track, Into You.
I love that song.
Which I never reached. I can't pretend there's something as good as that on this album. I just can't. But that was like my absolute sort of like top of the mountain like reference for this record. I just think it's such an incredible record. There's lots of records I love as well that probably people would be surprised to know I love. Like one of my favorite tracks of all time is "Wanna Get to Know You" by G-Unit.
Really?
Like it's probably, it's up there. It's really, really up there. But it's just not a part of myself I really talk about or have had a chance to express, because I've been so busy talking about being like a bit androgynous alien 80s kind of thing, I just felt like there was a whole part of me that actually people have no idea exists. It just felt like a really nice, Old Flame's just been a really nice expression of a part of myself that's kind of stayed hidden.
That's exciting. Also great song. 50 Cent being somewhat romantic, I guess, in that track.
It's one of the sexiest tunes of all time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a great tune.
Also, that era, it really truly is unmatched, and it
is.
And we were saying earlier,
in terms of pop music, and even hip hop, actually. I don't know, obviously there's a lot of great hip hop before that as well, but I'm still kind of into that, what they call like boom bap, hip hop, which is kind of almost like what your dad likes now or whatever. But I still love those grooves. I still love those kick patterns, and that's what I was referencing. I was like, I don't care if anyone thinks it's old. I like it.
Yeah. Well, I feel like nostalgia is something that is popular now. Do you know what I mean? Because we need to look back. Times are weird, so we have to look back.
Don't look ahead, whatever you do.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Old Flames, we only have 2 singles out right now. So what tracks coming out on the album should we be looking out for that are special to you? And I'm sure they're all special, but specifically, is there something that we should be leaning towards when we first hear the entire album?
Yeah, so in terms of the next single is going to be is the biggest single on the record. I think it's the biggest. It's certainly the biggest writing moment on the record. It's the biggest surprise, I would say. It's quite different to Babyline, hence the surprise element. But it just does something I've never done before. it just feels very different to anything I've ever done before, and I'm really, really proud of that track. Yeah, that's called Lose Myself, so that's coming out. I'm very excited about that, so keep an eye out for that. And then I have obviously a couple of favourites on the record, just personal favourites. There's a track called I Just Keep Crying, which I'm super proud of. I love that track, the harmonies in the chorus, and just like the feeling of it. There's also a track called Night Vision, which I love. And there's another track called Your Lover, which is, again, it's just like a very smooth groove, but it just gets me every time. And I think the hooks in those songs as well are some of my best writing, like my best pop writing, I would say. I think the hooks on this record are probably, maybe even in my opinion, the best hooks I've ever written. And I think that that type of pop music really inspired me actually to like get the best hooks out of myself, and I think I did. I mean, we'll see when it comes out what everyone else thinks, but it really, really put me in a different pop hook space, and I think that's been really healthy for me as a writer. So yeah, I'm just so excited for the record to come out.
We are too.
Good.
You know, I feel like obviously a lot of people know you from Bulletproof, which was such a huge banger of a song, you know, and even to this day, people are rediscovering that song through TikTok and through social media.
It's constant, yeah.
Is there ever this element of like, you know?
Off, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it is such a huge track.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's what, 15, 16 years
Yeah,
ago?
it's like 17 years
17
ago.
years ago.
It's insane.
So it's like, you know, I feel like any artist would have, their dream is to have a song be that big, just off the rip. But as an artist who's constantly evolving and constantly growing, is there this element of like, I want it to be behind me?
I mean, I think to like complain about it would be like ridiculous at this point, considering it's like literally my bread and butter, you know, like I was able to have the freedom to work on records and, you know, run away from the music industry and whatever because of that song. So it's like a weird catch-22 situation where you're like, hang on a minute. So I'm super, super grateful for it in so many ways. And it's a really amazing thing to have that, like you say, so many people want. But I think, because it's just a long time ago, you're like, it doesn't represent who I am anymore. Like, you know, the lyrics, whatever, they've always been a bit meaningless to me, which is actually weird because I know it's like kind of the one that means the most to other people, and they're like, I feel really bulletproof. Like, I've never felt bulletproof my whole life. Still not. So I've always been a bit like, those lyrics just kind of happened and they felt visual and cool at the time, but I certainly wasn't like, I don't think I actually felt like that. And it's so poppy in a way that I had no awareness of while it was being written, that it's always just taken me by surprise. Every time I play it still, I'm like, what is this song? Like, it's like, I'm like, I don't quite, it's always going to be a phenomenon I don't quite understand. But I'm insanely grateful. I don't want it to be behind me because I like to, it can't be, it never will be, you know. I think I just would like to join it with some more things, you know. I'd like to come to the success that it had with some other stuff. It's just very hard though, you know.
Yeah.
It's hard, you know, and people are like, oh, why don't you write a hit like that again? I'm like, oh, if I could do that, I would. Like, it's just not that easy. And I think it's very hard to write the first thing that you ever put out eclipses everything else you ever do. Like, I would have preferred if it came slightly later in my career, maybe. So I kind of built to it, because otherwise it feels like you went like this and everything's just downhill from there. Do you know what I mean? Like, that sometimes is hard, you know, and everyone's kind of waiting for you. And if you don't eclipse it or you don't make it better, then it's like everything you've done since isn't as good. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, I don't like that vibe. I don't think anyone likes that vibe. And also don't think it's true. So I don't know.
It's definitely not true. Actually, last year I ran a half marathon with Nike, and your song Going In For The Kill pulled me across the finish line.
Well, there you go.
I literally was like, I need something. And so there's other amazing songs that you've done. I mean, that was on the same album, but you know, obviously like your talent is beyond Bulletproof.
And also it's like, I don't know, you know, they all serve different purposes, right? You know, like Bulletproof is a very particular kind of commercial hit. I just don't think I can ever compete with that. I didn't mean to do it in the first place. So,
It's always a happy accident when that happens, I feel like.
Yeah.
We did talk a little bit about collaborations earlier, but, I know Tyler, the creator, has like championed your music for so long. And you...
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't you work on Igor?
Yeah, I guess, but I just thought he was like, I like your voice, come sing. I don't know. I mean, I'm so unaware sometimes. This is probably why I haven't collaborated, because I just have no idea what's going on half the time.
I mean, maybe you should be more aware. I mean, this might open up some doors for you here. Because didn't he remix Automatic Driver?
Remixed Automatic Driver. Yeah, he did. Yeah. We never really met during the process.
Okay.
Just because he was here, I was in the UK finishing a record, and he was doing it here, and then I went to a show in Brixton, and I met him really briefly there. But yeah, there wasn't like a huge amount of chatting. It was just kind of like, will you do this? I was like, yeah, for sure. I sent him the vocals from a UK studio, and then he remixed Automatic Driver, and which I loved actually. It was a really nice other version of it. It was kind of like, I quite like remixes that don't change songs like wildly. Do you know what I mean? They're just kind of like another take or another look, and I felt like that was one of those, and it's a really nice sort of version to hear. Yeah.
Wanted to make a contribution, baby. I wanted to start a revolution with you.
You've had a lot of people remix your songs and sample your music.
Yeah, there's been some really cool sampling things that have happened. Like Dre and The Game nearly sampled him for The Kill when they heard it on Entourage. There's always this really funny story that went round that they were eating ice cream together while they were watching Entourage, and they heard it, and I was like, it's like the most hilarious story I've ever heard. But that never came out. It never happened in the end. I got a CD of it at home that just says property of Universal something all over it, to the point where you can't hear anything.
You've worked with New Order.
Yes, I've worked with New Order. Yeah, I worked with Bernard. He came and asked me he asked me to come and do vocals on, oh my God, what was that record called? Yeah, no, I'm not going to be able to remember the name of that record. Where I think I did 2 tracks. One was called like New York Deli. And one was called something else. Maybe that was the working title. I can't remember. Anyway, that was really fun. Obviously, huge fans of New Order. And then I did 3 dates on tour with them as well. So that was like the last support thing I did. We did like the Greek theatre and stuff like that. But they're great people, Bernard was really funny. It was really nice to see his working process as well, because he kind of writes all of that stuff himself.
Yeah.
Writes all the parts and writes all the lyrics and does it all himself in this like little room in his house. And actually just seeing his process was really interesting. You don't get to see people's process that often.
Yeah.
Actually, that was really cool. Yeah.
Now you're supporting Hilary Duff on
That's
tour.
Right, yeah.
I mean, that's pretty crazy. What is that tour like? Hilary's wonderful.
I mean, they're such nice people. It's been so chill. It's a shed tour, so it's just amphitheatre, so everything's outside. The only thing is, it's been so incredibly hot that actually I've not really been coping. Like the other day I went on stage and it was 34 degrees, which is like really hot in your language. And yeah, that's been difficult. But apart from that, her team are all delightful, and it's been very, very, very chilled backstage. And it's just been nice to kind of, again, play to those people that definitely don't know anything I did since Bulletproof. They're the people that heard Bulletproof on the radio and liked it, and then were like, I'm off having kids, or whatever. And it's the same kind of age group. So there's a lot of nostalgia as well with the lineup. And it's just really nice seeing people kind of re-engage, and kind of pull the dots together and go, oh wait, you're Bulletproof. Oh, you can sort of see them doing it while you're playing. I haven't been here for like 10 years, so it's been really nice, and it's just nice to be on stage again as well.
Yeah, we're excited to have you back on stage, and these are big stages. Don't you have Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I've never played a room like that before, so.
I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Do you change your performance at all when you go from like a smaller venue to a larger venue?
I mean, yeah. I mean, on a smaller stage, it's very different. like I love underplays. Like we did 4 underplays in LA last year, and there were like, I don't know, like 100 to 600 in ranging in that sort of size. And the audience is right there. There's no barrier. There's no whatever. And I love that personally. I just think it's, you can't really move. You've got like a tiny stage. But I really love that. And the energy you get back from the audience is incredible. The further the audience are away from you, harder it is to get the energy back, I feel. But I also love playing to huge crowds. Like a huge festival crowd is one of my favorites. 10, 20,000 people, festival crowd. Amazing, especially in a tent. Love that. But this is like a different thing. It's like, it's not technically my tour. They're not technically my audience. They're also sat down amphitheaters, and I've never played to a seated venue before. So that's changing my performance quite a lot. And it's kind of, it threw me off my game a little bit at first. And I think I was like, I'm going to have to learn how to play this in a different way. So it's also just been an incredible learning experience from that perspective. But I have no idea how, because at the moment we're playing about 7 to 10,000. I have no idea how that's going to feel once I'm suddenly in a 20,000 cap venue where the seats are all the way around, and there's I don't really know until I do it. So we'll see what the reviews are like. I don't know.
Well, I'm sure it'll be great. It's just like interesting, obviously, from an audience perspective, like standing in a place where it's 600 people versus standing in a place where it's like 30,000. Like even from our perspective, it's different.
It kind of doesn't change the way that you perform, but it changes the way that you feel, and therefore that can get in the way of you performing, if that makes any sense. Like I feel like the connection's harder, maybe, and when the connection's easier, it flows easier in the performance. It's something along those lines.
I mean, having 30,000 people scream your lyrics back out, you probably feels pretty good.
Well, we'll see if that happens.
It will. It will. If you're playing Bulletproof, it will. And then hopefully soon, Babyline.
Yeah.
Or
let's hope,
Cabin Fever.
It is. I mean, it is always lovely. That's the great thing about Bulletproof as well, which is why I'm always super grateful. Doesn't matter who or where you play it to. They can be totally not your crowd, have seemingly no idea who you are, and then you play that song and it's like every single person in the venue knows the song, which is pretty amazing to have done that.
Special.
Yeah, it is.
Do you have anything else coming up in 2026 before you release your album Old Flames?
Just this tour's long, so I'm going to be on this tour for a while. And then I'm also trying to make the next record. I mean, I haven't really got very far with that yet. I won't lie. I'm probably a few demos in, but I would like to not have the gap that I've previously had in between all my albums. So working on just there not being a gap really at all. I'd ideally like to be releasing a record next year.
Okay, great.
I mean,
we'll knock on all the wood.
that's the plan. Yeah, I don't really want to go away now.
Okay. Well, we're happy you're back. We don't want you to go away either. Thank you so much, Ellie. Everyone be sure to check out her new album, Old Flames, that comes out November 6th.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.